Norm MacDonald, probably the funniest person to ever do the Weekend Update on SNL, doesn't think that atheists exist. Why, Norm? Why? You're one of the funniest people. I loved him on SNL. I loved him in Billy Madison. Sometimes when I'm trying to come up with video ideas, I do a little search for atheism on YouTube. And this time it led me to a video called Norm MacDonald Shitting on Atheists. Now I knew that Norm had some controversial opinions, controversial tweets and stuff from time to time, but I didn't realize that he felt this way about atheists until I watched this video.
I've never got the answer to the one question, which is why? Why Connecticut children? Why? Why a bomber in Boston? If there is a God, he's omnipotent.
Yeah.
If he's omnipotent, he could prevent it.
Yeah.
Why didn't he prevent it?
I don't know, man, but you got to stop hanging out in that hot tub with Bill Maher all the time. It sounds like you got a God-shaped hole in your heart.
What the hell are you talking about?
Larry King directly asks Norm MacDonald, why would a God allow these bad things to happen? And Norm deflects with an answer, sounds like you have a God-shaped hole in your heart. Why not just answer the question? He kind of does answer the question here in a few minutes on a different interview. But first, this old classic.
I don't think there are atheists, personally, is my opinion. I don't believe there's any such thing.
Meaning what?
Meaning that I don't think there's any such thing. And when I hear atheists talk, all they talk about is God. It's very hard to talk about something that doesn't exist and be fascinated with it.
It kind of breaks my heart to hear Norm MacDonald talking this way. I do encounter quite a few people who say things like this. Like, why would you talk about a God if you don't believe he exists? I don't think atheists exist. It's really not that hard to figure out why people talk about God. It's because theists talk about God so much. Really, any claim that people would make, if the amount of people who talk about God also spoke about Bigfoot, then there would be a Bigfootist too, who said, where's the proof? It's not a hard concept to figure out, and I'm not sure why it baffles so many people. I think it's just this deep-rooted indoctrination in their mind that there is a God, and they, learned that at a young age, and now they have believed it their whole life. And then when somebody comes and, conflicts with that opinion, they don't really know how to react to it.
I don't think that you can imagine something. I think that's the arrogance of man, that he thinks he can imagine unimaginable things.
That statement makes zero sense. Of course, if you can imagine something, then it's imaginable, but does that make it real? I can imagine flying purple elephants. Does that mean that they're real? No.
It's just an absence of belief. It's not theism. It's atheism. And it's only a reaction to everyone,
It's reaction. All it is reactionary.
Yeah. So
but the problem with it is this: with atheists, I have heard, is they're usually, as with most people that like to argue, they're usually missing the entire point of everything.
Norm, that's called a straw man. Sure, maybe you've encountered some vocal atheists in your days, like Bill Maher, who you spoke about. You are making atheists and people who like to argue synonymous. Now, let me ask you this. Have you not encountered Christians who like to argue? That's what apologetics are. Christians love to try to convert you to their religion.
They talk about the Crusades or some ridiculous nonsense that has nothing to do with the question. So as soon as I hear them talk about that, I go, okay, well, you're a fucking idiot. Why should I listen to anything you say? Further than that, if we would go to even deeper level than that, if everything was created by accident, then that means that you and I were also created by accident. And that means that Richard Dawkins was created by accident. So why the fuck should I listen to him?
It's funny that Norm brings up Richard Dawkins because Richard Dawkins often talks about personal incredulity, meaning that just because you don't understand something, that doesn't mean that it's not true. It seems to me, from what Norm is saying here, that he's never really read much about evolution or the formation of the universe and what we know about it.
If God created the universe, he also created the cannibals that are in the news today. He created the what created wars and all the badness in the world too. So how do you explain that?
Well, I don't explain it. I mean,
why would he then?
Why not? I mean, you know, I mean, it's the atheists believe in the fairy tale because they're saying, how could God be mean? Why the fuck can't he be mean? You know, why can't he allow races to be turned to ash? Why not? What the fuck is it matter? It's the atheists that live in the fairy tale saying God should do this, God should do that.
Now, here's one thing that I actually kind of agree with Norm about. It is possible that there's a God who just allows all this bad stuff to happen. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's an atheist fairy tale, though, because most of the people who we're talking about here are the Christians who say, this is our specific God. This is who he is. This is, you know, what he wants and all of that. So that God is supposed to be good.
Oh, you read the Bible, it says rain falls on the wicked and the just. He doesn't give a fuck.
The Bible now.
Well, the Bible, I mean, that's the only one I know, you know.
Yeah.
I still love Norm. I still think he's one of the funniest people out there. But his takes on atheism to me seem like that he has had some run-ins with some bad atheists, or he just has this in his mind that that's what atheists are. He's probably encountered a lot more atheists than he realizes. Just not all of them are outspoken about it, or not all of them are this picture of atheists that he has in his mind. So, Norm MacDonald, when you inevitably watch this video, feel free to DM me. I think you need to get to know some more atheists. If you liked this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That way it can be shown to more people around YouTube and maybe make its way to Norm MacDonald so he can realize that not all atheists are bad people. Catch you in the next video.